Week 4 preview. Let's get it.
Just keep it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
Yo, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Lonnie Z. This is FaZe Fantasy Live, and with me, as usual, my partner in crime, Jake Hanson. What's going on, Jake? How are you, brother?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're going to break down all of Week 4's games, kind of preview them for you, let you know what we think, give you the fantasy implications of them, and then we're going to talk about what just happened last night. Jake, we had Detroit and Green Bay last night. Okay, you picked Detroit. I said this is the kind of game Detroit loses normally, and I thought that was a fair assessment. Normally they do. But this ain't the same Detroit, bro. They came out and balled out. I know, hey, I will say this, in our league, in case you guys don't know, Jake and I are in a league against each other, a year-long league. And the guy I was playing, I won't mention his name, Ray, he had Montgomery on his bench. And so,
oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
So I'm hella happy about that, right?
Oh, no.
Thanks, Ray. Love you, bud.
Yeah, right on, brother.
But anyway, man, did that surprise you, the way they just used Montgomery and the way the Lions ran their offense last night?
Using Montgomery, yes. I still had a lot of hope for Gibbs, just thinking, come on. But Montgomery's their horse, man. He's their horse. And like I said, I picked Detroit, and I said for Detroit to win, I was saying that Aaron Jones wasn't probably going to play. But he did play, but they didn't really play him that much. And you could tell that Green Bay struggled without him. They didn't get a lot of good runs with A.J. Dillon at all. Love didn't look good in the first half at all. And he looked all right in the second half, but it was kind of sloppy time, It was Detroit was playing prevent to win defense. So, Love had some good plays, but I think Aaron Jones not being in there full time, I think it cost him the game. And Detroit looks good. And like we said, Detroit could be a high-performance team for sure.
Yeah. I agree, man, with everything you said. I think you described them as like a scrappy, feisty kind of team, which Campbell, their coach, he's a smash mouth guy, but he's
Killers,
he's got a really high football IQ though. And they even mentioned it last night on the broadcast that a lot of people think he's a meathead. This guy's not a meathead, bro. He knows what he's doing. Just some of the numbers from last night's game. Jared Goff was 19 to 28 for only 210 yards. They didn't pass a lot. He had a touchdown and an interception. But they didn't need to because Montgomery, 32. Bro, when's the last time you saw a running back in the NFL have 32 carries, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns? 32 carries for 121. That's not even a great average, but 32 carries, 3 touchdowns. All the goal line stuff went to Montgomery. And like you said, Jameer got no love. He got nothing. He got a few little downs here or there, but they're saying, look, I want a bell cow, kind of like we had talked about. Get a bell cow. I want a bell cow, at least for this Thursday night. That's what they did. That's how they used David Montgomery. Josh Reynolds led their receiving corps, 3 receptions for 69 yards. I mean, St. Brown had the touchdown, but they didn't really pass a lot. And then on the flip side, Jordan Love was 23 of 36 for 246 yards. He had 2 interceptions. And on those 2 interceptions, he looked bad. He looked young. He looked bad. But he kept his composure, tried to get his team back in it. I still think he's still man, this kid is he's going to be a really good quarterback. And he's already good. But he's going to be he looks composed in there. He doesn't look like he has a lot of pressure. He doesn't have happy feet in the pocket. He had a touchdown. But Aaron Jones, 5 carries, 18 yards. Seriously? That's all you're going to do is give this guy 5 carries? I mean, this is an all-star caliber running back. And maybe they were just kind of easing him back because he just came back from the injury, the hamstring. But 5 carries, man, is not enough, especially at home. You have to establish that run. And Romeo Dobbs seems to be becoming Jordan Love's favorite target. 9 receptions, 95 yards. So he's becoming his favorite target.
Mhm.
And then Christian Watson, he gets back in and he gets a touchdown, which is kind of nice. And he had a nice big play too. So I think just with that all together, and some news that came out today regarding the Detroit Lions, I'll eat crow. I said in the last podcast, I said, watch the Lions come out and drop a 40 burger and make me look like an idiot. Well, they almost did, bro. 34. So, I'll eat crow. They did a great job and they got the dub there. But they're going to get deeper, bro. They're going to start stretching the field because it just came out today that Jameis Williams has been released to play. They cut a couple weeks off of his penalty, and now he's available for week 5.
Yep.
Not this Sunday, but next Sunday, week 5, he is available. So waiver wire, for those of you who didn't stash him, just go grab him. If you have a spot, get him. Put him on your bench because this is a big play waiting to happen. Were you surprised? Obviously, you called the game, but were you surprised at the lack of fight that Green Bay put up, or did you think Detroit just whooped their ass? What did you think, bro?
It just seemed that was the same as last year. The way Detroit played him last year against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. That's the same way they played him. With the fire, and it looked like it meant more to Detroit than it did Green Bay. At first, and I just think, like I said earlier, I think Aaron Jones not getting a lot of playing time hurt him, and I think AJ Dillon in there is hurting him. Last week they should have lost that game. Last week they were down 17, and they came back and won. So,
yeah.
I'm going to take a shot at the dark and say Jonathan Taylor is a big. Watch Jonathan Taylor getting traded to Green Bay. Jonathan Taylor came out, I think yesterday, or the day before, that he still wants to get traded. And the Colts came out and said, we're not paying you. So I see Green Bay as big. Green Bay didn't want to give the Colts really anything for them before week 1. But now I'm hearing that Green Bay is ready. So, I mean, the way they're playing right now with A.J. Dillon, it's not working out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think that, I don't know, you have Aaron Jones, and as long as he's healthy, he's still an excellent running back. So if Taylor would go there, I don't know what they'd have to give up. I don't know if Jones would be a part of that package and he'd go to Indianapolis or what, but
Dillon would have to go. AJ Dillon would have to be part of it.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But it's kind of for me, I thought that Green Bay was going to come out and play a little better, and they did not. And of course, on Prize Picks, I thought that Jameer and Laporta would get a touchdown between the two of them. Nothing. No love in the red zone. No. They weren't passing. They just ran the ball. Give it to number 5 every freaking time. And Montgomery just did his thing. So,
especially
good win
coming off injury.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good win for Detroit. Let's get on to it. Let's bang these things out because the season's been crazy already. The first 3 weeks, I mean, Denver getting all those points and all those records scored on them and did on them last week. I mean, it's just a freaking really crazy season already. I'm seeing it everywhere too. All across the YouTube, TikTok, everyone's the same. This season's crazy. All the leagues that I'm only in a couple leagues, but the leagues that I'm in, everyone's saying this is weird. This season is really strange. Nothing is like you draft your team and it's like this is not lining up. I mean, you're a perfect example of that. I look at your team. You have a deep team, but because the way these few weeks have gone, it's just been crazy. So let's just bang through these and see where we get. Atlanta and Jacksonville. Atlanta comes in 2-1. Jacksonville is 1-2. Quick question. Are you going to be up at 6:30 in the morning to watch this game across the pond?
Let's go. Yeah, let's get it.
Okay.
Let's get it.
So you're gonna watch it before service on Sunday, and
Let's get it. I'm up at 6:00 every Sunday, baby. Studying. That's what I mean. I'm waiting for you, Lonnie. I'm waiting for you every morning, brother.
That's true. That's true, brother.
Let's get it.
I'm older than you, so I have a lot more stored up here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got it. But you know what I mean? Yeah, let's get it.
But yeah, so they play. This is the first game in London, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, though, actually are the official London team. They took that moniker on about 5 seasons ago, I think, that they agreed to play in London every year. They're going to have a game in London and to like become London's flagship team or whatever the case is. So they're playing against Atlanta. I don't know. We'll see how Bijan goes. This season, Bijan has 39 carries for 213 yards. ETN, 49 carries, 205 yards. The leading receiver for Atlanta is Hollins, seven receptions for 14 yards. That can't be right, bro. That cannot. That's 7 receptions for 114 yards. That's their leading receiver. Hollins? Are you kidding me? 114 yards? Let alone the 7 receptions. And they've played 3 games. This guy has 7 receptions for 114 yards, and he leads Atlanta in receiving. And you got Drake London and Kyle Pitts over there. Are you free? See, this is what I'm talking about with Smith, bro. Arthur Smith does not give a damn, bro. I don't know. He just does not give it. He's just, these are first round picks that he's just like saying, screw you guys. We're going to give it to the guy we got from the Raiders in the offseason. He's going to get what the hell is going on here? Christian Kirk, 16 receptions, 173 yards. We were a little concerned after week 1, but I remember you saying in week 2, hey, they're showing Christian Kirk love. They're showing him that, no, bro, we haven't forgot about you. I know we got Ridley. You were kind of saying that the Jaguars, they got Ridley, but Christian Kirk, they still think highly of him, and it's showing. He leads that team in receptions. Then Ritter, 553 yards passing on 2 touchdowns, an interception, and Lawrence, 736 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs. These teams are kind of evenly matched, bro. I kind of feel like Jacksonville comes out with the win here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Jacksonville, this is, there's not really a home team on this one, but like you said, Jacksonville, they're pretty much taking London as their home team. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Jacksonville's going to come out on this one. Bijan Robinson, I think he'll have an all right game. His salary dropped $7,700 on FanDuel this week. Last week he was at $9,000. So, from him not performing last week is dropping. But I think for Atlanta to progress, they need to pass the ball. We keep saying it, pass the ball, pass the ball. Last week they didn't pass too much, they lost. The week before, they had London had some stats, Pitts had some stats, Bijan ran all over the place, and they won the game against Green Bay. And last week they forgot how to pass the ball again. Just like you're saying. I mean, Drake London last year, he was a top receiver coming in that a lot of people had a lot of high hopes on. So use them. I mean, just like you said, Lonnie, Art Smith, use them. Well, why aren't you using your guys,
Right.
And Jacksonville, Calvin Ridley had some drop issues last week, and they're worried about that. But I see him getting some targets this weekend, and Christian Kirk's going to keep going. Etienne's been consistent the whole time. So I think Jacksonville's going to come up top.
All right, Jacksonville. And so the guys to look for in this game, they're kind of obvious. Bijan, Etienne, Kirk, Ridley, Trevor Lawrence. Those are the fantasy plays. If you have any of those guys on your team, you're starting those guys. DFS, I don't know though. I'm not sure.
Etienne's averaging 13 points a week through FanDuel.
And what's his cost in FanDuel this week?
So
is he even on FanDuel?
He's pretty high this week, Etienne Jr. He's 8,500.
Yeah, that's a lot for 13 points, high.
Bro. Yeah, and they dropped down Bijan, what, 1,300 points, so or $1,300. So, yeah. But Christian Kirk, he's been averaging 10 points a game, 10 fantasy points a game for FanDuel the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. So anyway, we got the Jaguars in that game. Up next this is actually a pretty important game. You have the undefeated Miami Dolphins 3-0, and the Buffalo Bills are 2-1. And Buffalo, Miami always plays Buffalo tough, especially in Buffalo, which is kind of weird, but they do. Tua is second in the league. Tua is second in the league in passing. Well, he's third in the league now because Goff is second, but Goff has an extra game already. He already has his fourth game.
Mhm.
So Tua, 1,024 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, only 2 INTs. That's huge right there. Allen is 728 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and his problem is 4 INTs. 5 touchdowns, 4 INTs. And then Mostert, 41 carries, 240 yards, six touchdowns. And I would say if you're going to trade for James Cook, try to trade for him now. Try to get him now because he's like, I think overall, he's like the number 3 or number 4 running back as far as yards are concerned in the NFL right now. 44 carries, 267 yards, but he has no touchdowns on the ground. No touchdowns. So if you're going to try and get James Cook, get him now. Try to, finesse it and get him now before he starts scoring touchdowns. But we all know Buffalo running backs don't score a lot of touchdowns.
No.
They just don't historically. And then you have Tyreek with 25 receptions, 412 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And then Diggs, 25 receptions, same amount, but he only has 279 yards and a touchdown. Bro, this Miami offense is freaking crazy. And I know last week's game was crazy and a fluke. I'm not going to say fluke. It just only once in a lifetime we see a game like that. I don't know if I've lived to see an NFL game where a team scored 70 before. I probably have because I'm old as dirt, but I don't remember it like I remembered that game. That being said, Miami goes 4-0 or Buffalo goes 3-1. That's going to be a tough one. This is going to be Miami's biggest test yet. I know they beat New England in New England, but I think Buffalo is ready for them. I see Miami losing this in a tight battle. I don't see Miami blowing up like they did last week for sure. And I think Josh Allen and the boys in Buffalo figure out how to get it done. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it feels like one of those games, when a team just goes off the week before or just goes crazy or players just go crazy and they come back the next week and they just blow up. You know what I mean? Just lay an egg like big time, And I kind of got that feel, like I don't think it's going to happen, but I do have that feel a little bit. But Tyreek Hill is averaging 25 points a game for FanDuel, and Tua is averaging 23. Raheem Mostert is averaging 26 a game for FanDuel. So,
wow.
I know everybody went out and got Achane, and
yep.
But I would still run with Mostert this week.
Yep.
And
I agree.
And Buffalo, Kincaid. I want to see Kincaid get a little more. I have Kincaid, and I almost dropped him. I almost dropped him for somebody else because I have two. I have, too good of backups on the bench right now for bye weeks coming up. And I hate to get rid of somebody, but if Kincaid don't show up this week, I'm going to have to drop him for somebody because it's just not. I can't keep him, and I can't drop nobody else. So I hope he gets. I mean, he's getting targets and stuff. Last week, no tight end on that team got targets, really, right? Knox and him, I guess. I think they had a couple targets each. It was nothing crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can see Buffalo scoring some points against Miami's D. They're not, they're not the best D. I mean, Denver's offense went Russell threw for 300 yards and all that. So I think Buffalo's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. And from the injury standpoint, no real significant injuries on the Buffalo side other than Jordan Poyer. Their safety is out. So, that can open up things. You don't ever want to have your starting safety out when you're playing against Miami, but it's whatever. And then
Waddle's back.
On the Dolphin side, Waddle's back. But they do have their guard, Connor Williams, and their offensive tackle, Taron Armstead, which are questionable, but they're not out. They're a little banged up. But I'm with you. I got the Bills in that game also. Chicago and Denver. All right. You have two of the worst defenses in the league and two of the worst offenses in the league. They're both 0-3. They both have played horrible football this year so far. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. A lot of people are saying if you have Justin Fields, this is the week to start him because of all the off-field stuff and all the stuff about Getsky and all that they're really going to try and get him more involved and get him running. To me, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this game. If I was looking at the body of work for the first 3 weeks, I have to say Denver should win this game. That's what I'd say. In Chicago, Denver should win this game. But you never know. I'm going to go with Denver. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. I'm going to go with Sean Payton was just embarrassed. There's no way in hell they're going to give up 700 total yards again like they did last week. And so I'm going to go Denver in this one. But I will say this would be the week to start Justin Fields. I agree. When I hear those comments, I agree that this is the week. If you have him on your team, go ahead and run him out there. Unfortunately for me, I do have him, but I have Richardson too. And I haven't started Richardson yet. I'm going to run Richardson out there this week, I think. We'll see. But so what's your take on this game?
I'm going to start off with the Bears. And you know what? Justin Fields, you have to come out like what Lonnie just said. Everybody's saying that this is the game for you. Well, we thought last week was going to be the game for you after you stood up there and made comments. And, we thought you were going to step up last week and you didn't. So this is the game. I mean, you're playing a team that just got blown out by 70 points or that gave up 70 points. So
yeah,
I think this is going to be a fantasy game. I'm the two worst teams, probably one of the two worst teams in the league. And this is going to be a fantasy game. I think so. I don't think Justin Fields is going to do as good as everybody says, but I think he will have over 50 yards rushing and all that. And DJ Moore, he'll get his. But I think on the Denver side, I think Russell Wilson is going to be a good play. Javonte Williams is a RB2 upside, and I think this is going to be a breakout game for him too. Like Javonte is almost there. He's been getting 11, 12 touches a game on the ground. He's right there. He's right there. So, and Sutton went off last week. Marvin Mims. I honestly think that this week you're going to see Russell score some high points, and you're going to see Javonte. You're going to see Sutton, and I think Denver's going to win this game.
I agree with all that. The leading rusher for the Bears. Guess who the leading rusher for the Bears is?
Roschon Johnson.
Justin Fields, 109 yards. After 3 weeks, bro. That's what gets me back to Getsky's an idiot. But I did that rant last week. I ain't going there again. But really, 109 yards leads their team in rushing after 3 weeks. And it's the guy that we're saying hasn't been running. So that just goes to show you. Marvin Mims, though, 7 receptions, 195 yards this year, and a touchdown.
He had a kickoff
return for a touchdown.
Kickoff return touchdown.
But this guy's electric, bro.
Yeah,
he's like your classic boom. If you have to stream him and throw him in there, 3 targets can end up with 150 yards and a touchdown. With this guy,
it's just like Judy and Sutton's in his way. I mean, to be honest.
And Sutton, man, that's the other thing. If you're looking to trade, I think now's a good time since Sutton had a great week last week. Trade him away and get something back because someone might be looking to want to get Sutton. I think the gem here is Marvin Mims long term. So, yeah, I have Denver also in that game. All right, Baltimore and Cleveland. Baltimore and Cleveland, man, this should be a good game. They both have decent defenses, real good. I mean, Cleveland has a real good defense against the run. I have Gus Edwards, and I think I'm keeping him on my bench this week because Cleveland shuts down all year long. They've been shutting down running backs. Lamar is looking more like Lamar. He leads Baltimore in rushing, 193 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 32 carries. That's more like getting back to Lamar. Nick Chubb still leads Cleveland. Of course he does. But Zay Flowers leads them in receptions, man. 21 receptions, 188 yards. The rookie, he just hasn't found the end zone yet. Once he starts finding the end zone, this guy's going to blow up as far as fantasy is concerned. And then you have 17 receptions, 243 yards for Amari Cooper with 1 touchdown. This is going to be a tight game, man. They're both 2-1. Cleveland's at home. They always play each other tough. The Baltimore Ravens, Kyle Hamilton, their safety, Marcus Williams, their safety, they're both questionable. Marlon Humphrey, their cornerback, is out. Tyler Lindenbaum, their center, is questionable. So they have some injuries. And Deshaun Watson popped up on the injury report. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Deshaun, but they said his shoulder, something with his shoulder, and he's listed as questionable for Sunday's game, which would be pretty big. If Deshaun is out, I think Dorian Thomas Robinson is his backup. So what's your take on this game, man? I don't even know yet who I'm gonna lean towards Cleveland just because I think they will play a little more physical and they're at home. But to me, this is one of those 50-50 toss-ups, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking Cleveland also. Deshaun, I guess he was limited this morning in practice, so I think he'll play. Hopefully he plays. But on the Baltimore side, Beckham Jr. and Bateman's out now. They just announced that. They're out. And then Justin Hill's still questionable. So I think Cleveland, because I think Baltimore's still trying to find their way. I think Baltimore's still trying to figure it out with them. Like last week, like we're talking about, between the difference of Lamar and Justin Fields. Like, Lamar's a veteran. He's making his decisions, and he's doing what he has to do to try to win. And Justin Fields, it seems like it's in his head, and he doesn't know what he's trying to do, So I think Lamar's going to do everything he can to win the game on Sunday. But I think Cleveland's going to be too much for him, and I think Cleveland's going to end up winning that game. And Deshaun Watson, he's been averaging 18 points a game for FanDuel. And Amari Cooper's been doing really good. He's been doing really good. And, I mean, I know he's only averaging 12 a game for FanDuel, but he's been consistent the last 2 games. And Jerome Ford, he's going to keep getting the ball. He's going to keep getting the touches. And I think last week Elijah Moore had like 13 targets. So, but I'm going to take Cleveland this game.
Yeah, I agree. Pittsburgh and Houston. Pittsburgh and Houston. 2-1 is the Steelers, and 1-2. That's what Houston comes in at. There's been some hype around C.J. Stroud, 906 passing yards, which puts him in the top 5 passers in the league, which is crazy. This rookie, Najee Harris, only 139 yards on 35 carries. He leads the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, we don't expect a lot of Kenny Pickett. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And Stroud, man, he has 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. As a rookie, that's really good. He takes care of the ball. Dameon Pierce has been kind of disappointing this year. He only has 100 yards rushing total this year, bro. 100 yards with 1 TD, and he's way more talented than that. We know that he's way more talented than that. Mm-hmm. George Pickens, though, only 13 receptions, 233 yards, 38 yards, and a touchdown. He's just waiting. If they can figure out a way to get him like 12 targets a game, he could easily be a top 5 wide receiver in the league, bro. You give that guy 12 chances every game, he's going to make it happen. And then Nico Collins, it's funny because it seems like Nico's getting all these targets and receptions, but he only has 15 receptions, 260 yards, and a touchdown. But I still think Nico is really valuable. I got in this game, it's in Houston, 2-1 versus 1-2. It's easy for me to just go Pittsburgh and say, the Steelers are going to win this. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Houston and DeMeco Ryans, I kind of feel like they're going to put the clamps on. We saw what a good defense can do against Pittsburgh when they played against Cleveland at home. And Cleveland should have won that game. And we all know that was the Chubb game. Yep. Chubb was destroying these guys. I'm going to go out on a limb here, man. I got Houston at home. What do you think?
I think we're thinking alike right now. I was thinking the same thing, and I don't know if it's because I don't want to pick Pittsburgh, because like we're saying, I haven't seen Pittsburgh do anything to have a 2-1 record. Like the Niners smoked them. I mean, they smoked them. And in the second game, they were going to lose to Cleveland. Like, they were losing to Cleveland. Like we said, Chubb was going to get 200 yards. He had 64 yards in the first quarter. It was going to be bad for Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh played the Raiders last week and didn't look too good to me. You know, just a lot of misplays, and the Raiders had a lot of misplays. I mean, 3 picks by Jimmy G. So, you know, I think there's a couple injuries with Houston right now. I know Tunsil's hurt, and I don't know if he's out yet, but he's questionable right now. And I know they said that he hasn't practiced really. And if he loses 2 of his offensive linemen, I don't know, that could be bad. But you know, they're powerful. The receiving game is powerful, and I think this could be a game that Pierce could show up. Because just imagine if Pierce was showing up. If Pierce was showing up, Houston would be looking pretty good on offense, man. You know, last week what they did at Jacksonville, if Pierce was just getting 80 yards, you know, that'd be something else, you know. But Tank Dell, like we talked about, his price went up this week. He's at 6,200 now. Mm-hmm. And Nico Collins at 64. And Pittsburgh, you know, I mean, there's really nobody on the team that's been a big fantasy, you know, get other than George Pickens. You know, he's been doing all right. He's at 7,100, so they ranked him up a little higher. But you're right. If George Pickens got the targets like we've been talking about, the dude would be a top 5 receiver. He has. Yeah, I mean, he has the talent.
He does. He really does.
I'm gonna go with Houston, 17-13 game.
All right, Houston. We both pick Houston. The next game on the slate is the Vikings and the Panthers. This is the battle of the 0-3s. This is the battle of the teams who are trying to get Caleb Williams. I would say Vikings should just damn lose this game so we can get one step closer to Caleb. But I can't do that. I really think this is the game the Vikings come out and just put a whooping on somebody. I could see them going in there and handling their business. Kirk Cousins leads the league in passing yards. He has 9 touchdowns thrown already, bro, with only 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins is really lighting it up. 1,075 yards after 3 games, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 96 of 138. He's doing everything in his power, but he has turned the ball over. And I did check the plus minus for the league. Vikings are dead last, 32nd, -7. That's why they're 0-3. Because you were saying last week that the Vikings aren't playing so bad. And they're really not. But they're turning the ball over. And in the NFL, man, you turn the ball over. You can't give another group of grown men, professional athletes, that many opportunities, you know, and live to talk about it. So that makes a lot of sense why they are 0-3. Timely mistakes. Madison, 39 carries, 155 yards. Miles Sanders, 41 carries, 139 yards. Jefferson, 27 receptions, 458 yards. He's leading the league in receiving yards. Adam Thielen, though, man, 20 receptions, 211 yards. This is the Thielen revenge game. I think he's going to come out fired up against the Vikings. Young will be back, but Dalton leads their team in passing. I mean, Dalton played 1 game for him, and he still leads the team in passing after that 1 game. Bryce Young will be back to start. I think that bodes in the Vikings' favor. Danielle Hunter is one of the top 3 sack leader this year already. You know, so they're getting at. They're saying, "Oh, the Vikings can't get after the quarterback." Danielle Hunter is on pace to have. He's got more sacks than Garrett from the Browns. Garrett has 4.5. I think Hunter has 6 sacks already this year in the first 3 games. So I think this is a get right game for the Vikings. It should be a get right game for the Panthers. They're 0-3, but I like the Vikings in this one. Some of the notable injuries in this are the Viking safety Lewis Seen is out, and Marcus Davenport, their linebacker, is questionable, along with their center Bradbury is still questionable. Hopefully he'll be back for this game. Questionable is good. You know, they really need to shore up that line. And on the Panthers side, their linebacker Frankie Luvu is questionable. Xavier Woods, their safety, is out. Miles Sanders is questionable. so he's kind of banged up. And Jonathan Mingo, their receiver, is also questionable. Sanders has a groin injury, and so um, groin injuries are tough for running backs, man. They're tough for running backs. I got the Vikings in this one. Who do you got?
So Miles Sanders, he did not practice today. That's
not
so. Just keep an eye on it, and if anybody has Chuba on the bench or play him on a DFS, that'd be a good play. The Vikings, they haven't played bad. Like I've been telling you all along, they're not playing bad. Their offense is one of the top offenses in the league, and they're 0-3. And just think and their defense hasn't been too bad. It's just not falling their way right now. It's just not going their way. It's not, and I think they're going to kill the Panthers, man. I think they're going to beat them pretty good. Bryce Young is back, and Andy Dalton, when he was in, their offense was more powerful. The Panthers didn't look too bad. He threw for over 300 yards, and Adam Thielen had a 100-yard game. But I don't see any way that the Vikings are going to lose this game. I see a high score. I can see a high scoring game on the Vikings end for sure. I really do. And Alexander Madison, I could see a big game from him this weekend also.
Yeah.
And then, I could just see a big game with Justin Jefferson, Madison, Cousins, Hawkinson. I could just see a big game for them because they need it bad. I mean, they've been having good games, but as a whole, the Vikings need this game. They need to come out and win this game.
And taper back on those turnovers. They can't be turning the ball over. So
no.
Yeah, I agree. Next on the slate, Rams and Colts. It should be a good matchup. 1-2, 2-1. Colts are kind of the surprise team. Richardson is back. He's active. He's out of protocol. And so that's always exciting. If it's anything like the last time we saw this kid, he might have like a 60 point fantasy week. Because he had 17 points in the first 8 minutes of the first quarter, before he got hurt last time he played. Michael Pittman has just been a real good. He's just not getting the touchdowns yet, but man, 25 receptions, 230 yards. He's averaging like 12 targets a game. And Pittman's looking good. Puka Nacua was kind of banged up a little bit, but he's not showing on the injury report right now. So the Rams should have him. Zach Moss has been great since he's taken over that backfield. Done a great job fantasy-wise and just practical-wise. And the same with Kieran Williams. He's done a really good job for the Rams. Kind of evenly matched teams, man. This should be a good game. Tyler Higbee just got signed to a contract extension today, which is good for them. And he's kind of banged up though, but he should be fine. They should get Cooper Kupp back next week if everything keeps going, well. And then on the Indianapolis side, Jonathan Taylor, he'll be back next week. Everyone says he looks great. Now, I don't know if he's going to play here or where he's going to play, but he looks great. So all that being said, I have to really look at this from a whole. I just feel like when Richardson plays, man, there's just something different about this team. And not just Richardson. This team got a little fire under their ass, bro. They're a sneaky team. And not to discount the Rams, because the Rams could very well easily go in there and win this game. But I think I'm going to take Indianapolis at home. Richardson coming back. There's just something about this team that's a little different this year, man. I like the Colts.
The Rams haven't looked too bad on defense these past 3 games, and so it's not too easy for me to just say, the Colts are going to win. They play Cincinnati tough, and they didn't lose that game till the fourth quarter. So it just, I think Tutu Atwell, I think he's going to be more of the target. I think last game he was. And if the defenses keep playing underneath for Puka, he's going to have a hard time, man. The whole first half, he had a hard time, and the linebackers just played down on him the whole time. He couldn't really get above anybody. So, I think the Rams are going to do all right. I think they're going to score some points. I don't think it's going to be too crazy, but like you said, Anthony Richardson, the last game he was in, he was on fire, and he was he was going to have a big game that game, and Zach Moss and all that, and I just think being at home and in Indy, I think Colts going to win this game. But
No,
the Rams fantasy points though, they've been pretty good though. Williams been averaging 16 for FanDuel. Nakua's been averaging 16. Atwill's been averaging 13. So it hasn't been too bad for him. So, but I think the Colts going to win this game.
I agree. Tampa Bay and New Orleans, they're both coming in 2-1. I'm surprised both of these teams are 2-1. Neither one are jumping out at me as like, great teams. You got Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, or Rashad White. Bro, Taysom Hill leads the Saints in rushing with 91 yards. They get Kamara back for this game, which is good for them, and we'll see how he does. He's definitely an upgrade from whatever they've been running out there. Jamal Williams got hurt. We saw how Kendre Miller played last week. It wasn't anything spectacular. And then you have Mike Evans, who's just destroying the league right now. Mike Evans is having a great year. Him and Keenan Allen, bro, they're just destroying it, right? And then Olave is doing his thing, man. 302 yards. The only thing about Olave, a lot of people took him in the second round. His numbers say, if you look at where he's at, like, with all the other receivers, his numbers say, yeah, but no touchdowns. I mean, Jefferson only has 1 touchdown. So, the receivers aren't seeming to get in the end zone as much. It seems like the scoring is down, unless you're on Miami's team, in the league this year. So just be patient with Olave. I think he's going to be fine. He's getting the targets, he's getting the yards. He'll start getting the touchdowns. All that being said, there are some injuries. Vita Vea is questionable, their tackle for the Bucks, and Devin White, their linebacker, which is like the leader of that linebacking core. He's questionable, but hopefully he'll be good to go. Jamal Dean, their cornerback, is out. So they have, and their other quarterback, Derek Pitts, is out. They have and their other cornerback, Carlton Davis III, is questionable. So their defense is banged up, and they're going into that dome. I gotta like, with all that being said, I gotta like the Saints in this game. Derek Carr should be okay to go. Foster Moreau, their tight end, he's questionable, but he's probably going to play. And they have a couple guys out. Their center, Cesar Ruiz, is out. Jordan Howden, their safety's out. Paulson Adebayo is their corner. He's out. But I still think these teams are very closely matched. I like New Orleans at home.
So Derek Carr, he was limited today, right? So they haven't really said if he's not playing. I mean, it's just
no.
It's still up
they
in the
still
air.
have a march as questionable.
Yeah,
with his shoulder.
Yeah, it's these games are good, tough games too, man. These guys, they play tough against each other too. It's a division rival, and they always play tough. Mike Evans been in this rival for a while, so it's going to be a good game. I really do. And Kamara, I don't know if he's going to make that big of an impact. Like last year, he hasn't been playing the way that he usually does. And I tell you all the time, I think the reason they got Miller is because I think they're trying to push him out. I mean, they're paying Kamara a lot of money, and I can see Kamara getting a lot of touches this Sunday. But I think Miller's going to start filling his way into. And if Carr don't play, I'm going to pick Tampa Bay. If he doesn't play, I'm picking Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay has been playing all right. They've been in every game. Against the Eagles, it wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But if Carr don't play, I'm picking Tampa Bay. But I'm kind of playing the both sides right now. But if Carr plays, I'm picking Saints.
Gotcha. All right, Washington and Philadelphia.
Hmm.
It should be a good game because divisional, but I think Philly's getting better every week, bro. And I don't
Yeah.
even have to go over the numbers. We know the studs in this game. If you have Hurts, you're running them out there. You have AJ, you run them out there. You have Devonta Smith, you run them out there. If you have Swift, you're running them out there. You know what I'm saying? If you have any of those, you're running them out there. Brian Robinson, you're going to run them out there, even on this defense, because this defense can get ran on. I like Philly in this game. As far as injuries are concerned, there's no major injuries on either side here. That no real major injuries. Quez Watkins, I mean, he's out. I mean, that's not a major injury. But I think Philly's just going to whoop them, bro. I think this is not even going to be a very good game. I think Philly got this.
Yeah, Philly's a -9 on this game, and I think it's going to be by more than that. Buffalo gave Washington the run for their money last week, and Washington had a hard time on offense against the Bills, and Philly's a tougher defense. I think
Yeah.
they're a way tougher defense, and like you said, Philly hasn't broke out yet. They're just right there, and it's just every guy on that team. Hurts 20 points average. Swift 13, Devontae Smith 13, AJ Brown 14, and yeah, I just see the Washington. Sam Howell, he had a tough game last week. Yeah, hopefully he comes out and does plays a little better. But they're playing in Philly, and Brian Robinson, he was have a big game last week if they didn't get smoked like that. But I'm going to run with Philly, and I think it's going to be a big win. I think they're going to win by more than 2 touchdowns.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Bengals and Tennessee, both of them are 1-2. But they're going in two different directions. Tennessee seems like a 1-2 team. I keep wanting to bank on, they're gonna figure it out because that's what they do, and that's what Vrabel does. He figures it out, and he always has his team be competitive. But I think Cincinnati they're ready to start playing better, and I don't see Cincinnati going 1-3. I got Cincinnati in this game. I think Burrow and Chase have another big game together. Joe might get going a little bit. Joe Mixon get going a little bit. Ryan Tannehill has been horrible. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions this year. T. Higgins has been, he had a good game last week. So obviously they got Chase going last week, which was huge for them. But I just like it. I know they're on the road. I know this is going to be a tough game usually, and I know Tennessee's defense is tough, but I just feel like Cincinnati is going to get this thing going, and they'll be 2-2 when all is said and done.
Yeah, Tennessee's missing out Burks. He's out this week with an injury. And
does that surprise you?
And no, and Irv Smith Jr. He's out this week for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that Tennessee has going from right now is the rushing defense. I mean, they've been stopping everybody. I mean, they've stopped for the last 3 weeks. They've stopped everybody. So they're up to the top, 1 and 2 run defense right now. And I hope that doesn't bother Burrow, because if Joe Mixon can't run, then it's going to be all on Joe Burrow. And I know he's having his calf issue and all that, but it could be a really big Burrow day, though. It really can. If they just dump off to Mixon instead of running them, just dump it off, and you have 2 really good receivers, and you have another one with Boyd. So it's going to be a Burrow game, especially if they stop that run game, and they've been Tennessee has been. So, but I see a big game for Burrow finally. I really do.
Yeah.
He started to open up with Chase last week, and I see the Bengals winning by a good margin.
I agree. All right, Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers. This is a AFC West rivalry. Historically, they always play each other tough. Jimmy G is still questionable. Not sure if he's going to start. He's listed as questionable. He's still in protocol. I don't know what's going to happen if he's going to get the start. I don't know if you've heard anything on him or not. But I think the Chargers, man, are rolling offensively. I think the Chargers beat the Raiders. I don't think they stop Devontae. Devontae's still going to get his. You have to run Devontae out there, and he's not. This is a great week to DFS him, on daily fantasy.
Yep.
Throw Devontae out there, pay the premium, and just get him because he's going to have a game. I'm waiting for Josh Jacobs to get going. I think he should start possibly in this game. It's a good game for him to get right. But I just think that San Diego has too much firepower, but not having Mike Williams or Austin Eckler, that could kind of even the playing field just a little bit, because we've seen that Joshua Kelly is no Austin Eckler, and he's just laid eggs since he started. So I have no faith in him. But I do have faith in Herbert, and Keenan Allen is leading the league in receiving. This guy's just a monster. I say leading the league, but he's a top 3 wide receiver. I got to say that the Chargers at home are going to handle their business, and Raiders are going to be 1-3.
Yeah, it's going to be a high scoring game, I think. It all depends on Garoppolo. He was limited today. Eckler's pretty much out. They said he's doubtful. They downgraded him to doubtful. And then Mike Williams is out. Yeah, I see a big game from Josh Jacobs. I agree with you on that. I see him having a breakout game. And, in FanDuel, he's still high price too.
Yeah.
8,200. And that's high for a guy that hasn't been doing anything. I mean, you're taking a big chance on him, And Devontae Adams, he's on fire. And then Jacoby Myers, he's 6,900. He's been getting a lot of targets. But this all depends on Garoppolo playing, you guys. This depends on everything. If he's not in, then you have to kind of step back. But the Chargers side, they have, like I was looking at something earlier, and they have Josh Kelly as a RB2 upside. It's like they've been saying that for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not touching them. I'm not touching them. I know against them. I'm not touching them. I can't
butt in on you because this is your piece. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. We're telling everyone who's listening to us, we're saying stay away from Josh Kelly. Don't listen to anyone else. This dude has done nothing to make you want to believe he can be RB2. Okay, go ahead.
And let him make us eat crow.
Right.
Honestly.
Exactly.
Let him make us eat crow. And I think it's going to be a big game. Justin Herbert's going to be a good DFS play for sure. Keenan Allen. And let's see what Quentin Johnson does. Let's see what he does. They're going to go for Palmer. They already said Palmer's being number 2.
Yeah.
I can see Quentin Johnson getting a couple touches, and I'm really excited to see it too. Me and Lonnie's been talking about him since the season started, and I think we're both excited to see him get going.
Exactly.
And Keenan Allen's 9,500 this week.
Wow.
And Justin Herbert's 86.
Wow.
I mean, you could take a chance on Keenan Allen. He is going to get you over 15 points. That dude's on fire. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to score more than 15.
I was just going to say that. That's always my worry with him. He gets hurt.
I know. He gets hurt, man. I've had him every year, and it's something with his legs. And he'll play 3-4 his first 5 games, but he doesn't even make it to the 5th game.
Right.
So I think this game should be I thought this game would be a lot closer, and I'm surprised that both these teams are 1-2. It's just kind of sad to see that one of these teams are going to be 1-3.
Right.
Because I think the Raiders should have beat Pittsburgh, and San Diego could easily be 3-0 right now. So, but I'm going to run with the Chargers, LA Chargers. Sorry.
Gotcha. New England and Dallas. Dallas had a bad week last week against the Cardinals. New England, I think Dallas is just going to overpower New England in Dallas. I think talent-wise, they're the better team. And in this particular case, I'm going to say talent wins. I don't think Dallas is going to be asleep for New England like they were for the Cardinals last week. Whenever Belichick shows up, you're awake. You're trying your best because Everyone knows they can be 0-10 and they're going to give you hell. The Patriots, they're going to figure some things out. All that being said, I like Dallas. I like Tony Pollard to have a good game, and CeeDee Lamb. Now, I think CD has to get going, and it's going to be really important for Dak and CD to get going. But we all know that Belichick takes away your primary target, your primary, your big gun. So he may be trying to take away CD, or he may be trying to take away Pollard. I don't know. He's going to try to take one of those guys out of the game. So I would imagine that Pollard won't. I said I look for him to have a big game, but he probably won't, bro. If I'm just being honest, this is probably going to be a down week for Pollard, fantasy wise. He's probably not going to light up the scoreboard fantasy wise, and CeeDee Lamb probably won't either. I think it'll be a tight game, a tough fought game, but I think Dallas comes out ahead.
Yeah, speaking of Pollard, he's 8,400 this week, so that's pretty high for taking a chance. Because, like you said, Belichick will pick one guy, and we're stopping him, and they usually stop him. I think this game is Dallas's defense to lose. So, meaning this game's going to be based on what Dallas's defense does, and I think Dallas's defense is going to win this game. I think they are pissed off. You hear a lot of things. Micah Parsons got embarrassed. There's a lot of things lately that just they were opening up their mouth all week before that Cardinals game. All they've been doing is talking all season. Micah Parsons has been talking the whole time. And, I think he ate crow last week because he's been quiet this week. And I think Dallas' defense is going to tear up Mac Jones, man. I think it's going to be a bad day for Mac Jones. I know Belichick, he tries not to, get his team, slaughtered and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be Dallas's offense that's going to win this game. I think it's Dallas's defense that's going to show up because they got embarrassed. They got embarrassed last week. And, I think it's just going to be a basic game for Dak Prescott and CD, that. Like, I don't see a big high scoring game for them. Like I said, I think it's Dallas' defense. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
So are you saying if you can grab Dallas's defense, grab them? If you could stream them or DFS them?
Yeah, for DFS, I would honestly, pick them. I would honestly go for Dallas defense. I really think they have a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove. I mean, and Mac Jones hasn't looked good to me at all. I mean, the game against, what was it?
Philadelphia. 300 and something yards.
Yeah, 300 something yards, and ever since then has been really nothing. So I'm going to run with Dallas.
Yep, Dallas it is, and we all know how you really feel about Dallas. So for you to say that's a big one. With that, I segue into the next game. It's Arizona and San Francisco. The Niners, after starting the season off on the road, have back-to-back games at home. And the Cardinals, what they did to Dallas was amazing. It was great. But they're about to get their ass kicked. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. They're just outclassed here. The Niners aren't going to be asleep for this team. Shanahan keeps his team focused. They're going to go out. They're going to do business as usual. Purdy's going to have a solid game. McCaffrey's going to do his thing. Debo, I think Ayuk is okay to play in this game. I think he should be available for this game. And Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, they're just going to go out and do what the Niners do, man. They're going to run an efficient offense. They're going to play smash mouth defense. James Conner, though, I will say this, 2 seasons ago, I think it was 2 seasons, he had a monster game against the Niners, but I don't see that happening this week. I see the Niners winning this kind of handily. You run McCaffrey out there. I mean, this is Captain Obvious stuff. Debo, Ayuk, you can run them all. But here's someone flying under the radar, and we touched on him last week from the Cardinals standpoint, was Mike Wilson. 7 receptions, 161 yards. He leads their team in yards this year. Hey, You have Hollywood Brown, you have Wilson, you have Rondale Moore. Their receiving core isn't that bad. If you're trying to make a trade right now, might be a good time to go out and get a Hollywood Brown. You probably get him cheap. He's doing well. I don't know if I'd go get Wilson, but Hollywood Brown I might get if I can get him at the right price for my fantasy, my year-long team, because they're just going to be throwing and running, and they're the car. What else are they going to do? And Dobbs has looked very, very serviceable. You know what I think about Purdy? I think Purdy, like I said, my boy Al from the Bay, he said he was the next Drew Brees. I agree. I think he could be like Drew Brees. He could have a successful career like Drew Brees. And Big Al giving me that assessment. Yeah, Purdy's good, man. And I think he can do what Drew Brees has done in his career. I like the Niners in this one. I'm sure you're going to go Cardinals, but I'll ask you anyway. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. You know what? I got a couple things. Marquise Brown, he's limited this week in practice all week. So I think the Cardinals beating Dallas helped the Niners. Meaning, if Dallas would have won, the Niners could have underestimated the Cardinals. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if Dallas would have won, then I think it would have been way different of what the Niners would be thinking of them coming in.
Yeah.
But them seeing the Cardinals beat Dallas the way they did, you're right. The Niners are going to be fucking ready. Are going to be ready.
Yeah.
They better be ready, because if they lose that game, then the Cardinals are I'm not going to say real deal, but their defense is not too bad. But the thing is, the Niners' weakness is the run game. On the defense side, their run defense is not as great this year. They haven't really given up big plays. They slowed down Najee, and they slowed down Williams from the Rams and all that. It was nothing too crazy. And then last week they played the Giants, and they couldn't do too much either. But if they hold Connors to under 100 yards, then it's gonna be a big problem for Dobbs. Dobbs is gonna have a big problem. He's gonna have it's gonna be a rough day. It's a rough day. I don't want to get all cocky here and then, talk too much, because, we've seen what they did to Dallas. But I think them beating Dallas the way they did, now the Niners are ready.
Yeah.
I think it makes you think, it makes you step back and go, okay, they're not going to come in here and just, lay down against us. So, but I see the Niners handle them easily, and they should. And Adebo, he was limited in practice. Jawan Jennings is out. So that could give Ronnie Bell some playing time, and he looked all right with Ayuk out last week. So the Niners are a 14-point favorite. I mean, yeah, they're
that's a lot in the NFL, man.
Yeah, they're giving them 14 points, and I see the Niners beating them handily.
I agree, 100%. The next game is a Sunday night game. We have two games left. Sunday night game, Kansas City and the New York Jets. I will say this right now. If you're in a season-long league and you feel that the Jets are going to do something about quarterback, if you feel they're going to go out and make a trade or they already signed Stidham, but I'm not excited about that. I mean, he's probably going to be better than Wilson, but if you feel they're going to make a trade or do something at quarterback, now's the time. Go out, get Breece Hall, go out, get Garrett Wilson. They're cheap. They're the lowest they're going to be right now before they go off. Get your trades in for those two guys, because Zach Wilson, 467 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 4 INTs. If he didn't have the INTs and their running game was going, you can say, 467 yards, that's still more than 100 yards a game, which is not good for a quarterback. But he's just not playing well at all, and kind of like what everyone's nervous about. I don't see any way that the Chiefs lose this game other than if the New York Jets defense and Robert Saleh, they come to play. We've heard that there's been a lot of grumbling in their locker room. They don't trust Wilson. The defense isn't even happy with Saleh right now because Wilson is still there. They haven't made a move. They haven't done anything to rectify Aaron Rodgers being hurt. So I'm hearing that there's a lot of turmoil in that locker room. You can't give Patrick Mahomes any advantage, let alone your team's not on one page playing against him. I see Mahomes getting it done. I heard that Swift was going to be back. She's going to watch this game again 2 weeks in a row. She'll be there with Kelsey. So, Travis Kelsey's going to try and get in the end zone again. I like Kansas City in this game. I think that the Jets just don't have enough right now. It almost feels like when Aaron Rodgers went down, their heart was just ripped out of them. Mm-hmm. And that sucks because it was first 5 minutes of the game. You know what I'm saying? First, their hearts ripped out. Play number 4. I mean, that's just, or 3 or whatever play it was. 4 plays, I think he played. So I like the Jets. I mean, whoa. I like Kansas City. My bad. Kansas City in that game.
Yeah, they the Jets are like you said, they got their heart ripped out. So, like I look at the rankings right now, like at the fantasy rankings for the Jets, and it shows like the top, 5 fantasy players that they think that's going to, do something this weekend. And Breece Hall's not even one of the 5. And I was thinking Breece Hall was going to have a probably good game this weekend because they have to run him. They have to have a good running game to get Zach Wilson going, or you would think so. And I thought Breece Hall is going to do something this weekend. I actually took out
he might
Stevenson and put him on the bench for Breece Hall this weekend. And I just had a good. I just have a feeling that Breece Hall is going to do something. I'm kind of in a tough thing right now is with the Jets defense, like you don't want to drop a Jets defense right now.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're playing the Chiefs, and it's like it's just one of those games that you're like, well, I'm just gonna just run with the Jets defense, and we'll see what happens because you don't want to drop them, but they're not.
I have
playing.
The Chiefs defense this week on my team.
Yeah, well, I have the Jets defense. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't want to drop the Jets because you're like, man, because they're a good defense, but they aren't playing it like a good defense right now. They aren't. They're not playing that good. Robert Saleh, he has everything all messed up right now, and like you said, the whole team's just, But then you look back at Cleveland, they lost their best player, and they did good last week. They came out and played good ball. Yeah, they lost to Pittsburgh, but it happened that game. But they looked good last week. So, the Jets are. It's just hard to talk about the Jets right now. They have good players. Garrett Wilson. Everybody picked him. Probably second round, third round, and he's not showing up. And Garrett Wilson's 6,700 on FanDuel, and Dalvin Cook is 5,600. They're not really. Chiefs is just. There's nothing really to talk about the Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelsey, they have about 8 receivers that you just don't know what's going to happen with them. And Pacheco didn't look too bad last week. He's, he's number 1. And I think that I would like to see the Jets defense to push back a little bit, man. Like, I can see the Jets defense have a good first half, and hopefully they keep the game close. Yeah. I can see the Jets defense keep it close this week. It's a big game. It's at home. It's prime time. Swift's going to be there, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jets going to win because I don't think Zach Wilson has enough to do it. But if Breece Hall gets that running game going, I think it's going to be a close game. But I think the Chiefs going to win this game.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I think the Chiefs are going to win. But if the Jets have any hope, it's in their defense, because they really have an elite defense. When they're firing on all cylinders, they have an elite defense that can keep them in any game. But with the turmoil going on in the locker room and all that, I just see the Chiefs coming in and getting it done. But I would not be. It's Sunday night, prime time. I would not be surprised.
I got a question for you, and I think it's, it might be a bad question, but I mean, do you think with all this going on and with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt and all that, it's not Saleh's fault, but do you think Saleh's fired? at the
No,
end of
no,
the
no,
year?
no.
Just a question. Do you think he's fired at the end of the
No.
year?
No, I don't think so, man. Whenever you lose a Hall of Famer and your whole off season was built around this, I mean, you went out and filled your team based on who he told you to get. I want Dalvin Cook. They get Dalvin Cook. They didn't want to sign Dalvin Cook, but they did because Rodgers wanted him. They
Lazard.
signed Lazard because Rodgers wanted him. Randall Cobb's on this team, bro. They signed. So everything was what Rodgers said. So that's the front office stuff, bro. So I don't think Saleh's job is in jeopardy, but he's going to have to show that he can get through adversity, and he's going to have to show that he can win. I mean, shit. Last year they didn't have Rodgers, and they did fine. I mean, they did a lot better than they are this year, and they had Wilson, but they did have Mike White. Maybe they shouldn't have let Mike White go. Maybe they should have let Wilson go in the offseason and keep Mike White as their backup, because Mike White's a hell of a better backup quarterback than Wilson is.
Well, their defense looked better last year too.
It did.
So that's the thing, Saleh, that's the thing, everybody's saying, and like you said, the defense and everybody's mad. It's like Saleh, it's like he's not coaching the whole team. He's just coaching, it's like he's worried about Zach Wilson, but he needs to be worried about their defense also, because their defense hasn't looked good since game one.
Yeah. They definitely need something, a fire under their ass. I tell you what, a Sunday night victory in primetime at home against, the
Chiefs,
the defending champions,
big.
That would get them fired up.
Yep.
I could see that happening. I'm still going to stick with Kansas City because I can't bet against them.
No, we have to. We have to pick the Chiefs,
Yeah, but I could see the Jets
against
coming out with that defense and getting it done. You know what I'm saying? And Brees having a big game and, just shit happening. I could see that, but I don't think it will. But Saleh's going to need something like that, man.
Yeah,
for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, our final game, then we're going to wrap it all up. The Monday night game is Seattle and New York Giants. These two teams are having two different types of year. To me, the biggest thing here, Saquon, he's been injured. It looks like he's going to be okay to be back. He's still questionable, but they're saying that he's trending towards playing, which is a good sign for the Giants because they run through Saquon. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones is going to have to make good choices, and he's kind of an exciting player, man, Daniel Jones. But Kenneth Walker's a touchdown magnet. We touched on that last time. You get that boy within the 5-yard line, he's getting in the end zone. I like the fire that Seattle's brought this year. Geno had one bad week, and then he showed, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. That's what his stat line is this year, 736 yards. They're on the road in New York. New York needs this one, though. They need this game. They need to win this game. But I don't know if they're going to pull it off. If Barkley's healthy and he's at 100%, I think they have a good shot at getting this thing done at home. But Jackson Smith and Jiba, here's this rookie, first-round draft pick. He's getting a low target share, bro. Really tiny target share. He's not, carving out a role in this offense. Obviously, he has 2 really good receivers to contest with DK Metcalf and with Tyler Lockett. These guys are premier wide receivers, but they're no slouches. Both these guys are really good. But Seattle's been running a lot more 2 tight end sets. So when you would think that they're going to go 3 receiver sets, they're running 2 tight end sets. And I think that's because they drafted Charbonnet and they have Walker. And so they're doing a lot more running than they are, passing. And when they're passing off of that, out of that set, they go to the tight ends and they have their 2 stud wide receivers. So JSN, just be patient with him is what I'm saying. If you own him, be patient with him. Don't be like me and drop him and hope that he's going to be hidden because his projection this week is so low because you didn't have enough slots on your team and you just had to get rid of someone and he just was odd man out. So don't do what I did. I would be patient with him and hold on to him. In this particular game, though, I do see Seattle coming away with the win here. but I'm not surprised if the Giants turn up big on Monday night and get it done, and Saquon has a big game. What do you see?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Saquon, I guess he was limited in practice yesterday, and yeah, I think the same thing. If I'm, I mean, I'm right with you. You know, if Saquon's healthy and he plays, I think the Giants are going to win this game. I think it's all based on Saquon Barkley because they had no running game with Saquon out against the Niners, and I think the Giants are going to end up winning this game with him in it. The Seahawks, they looked up and down. You know, they almost lost to Detroit. They didn't look too good. They lost the first week against the Rams. They didn't look good at all. You know, last week they ended up beating Carolina, but it took them all 4 quarters. You know, it's not like they beat them in the first half. It took them all 4 quarters. So, you know, I think Seattle's still trying to figure out. You know, like you said with Smith Jigba and
Jiba
and the receivers Jigba and Metcalf hasn't really had a big game yet, and I think they're like you said they're focusing on Walker big time. Like they're really focusing on the running game, and Charbonnet he did have 40 yards last week too. So, but if Barkley's healthy, I'm with you. I think Giants are going to win this game at home, and all that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they can. I think for the record, I did pick Seattle, but if Barkley does play, I think the Giants can win this game, but I'll stick with what I said, Seattle. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It's kind of a toss-up game, and it does hinge around Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% with you on that. So that was the week 4 preview. We got through all the games. Hopefully, you guys got some insight on this week and things that can really help you out. I just want to really quickly, and this will be real quick, go over the rankings, NFL rankings, is ESPN's power rankings, because there's a video on TikTok that kind of might have went viral about someone, freaking out over the Niners and Cowboys last week, but I'm not going to mention any names, Jake Hanson. So we'll start that. We're going to go from bottom up, and I'm just going to name them off real quickly. All right. So we're just going to go with the power rankings. We're going to start at 32 and work our way up. At number 32, no surprising to me or you, the Chicago Bears. 31, the Denver Broncos. You give up 70 points in a game, you're going to be like one of the 2 worst teams in the league, or release rank. At number 30, the Carolina Panthers. They're 0-3. At 29, the Tennessee Titans at 1-2. Houston comes in next at 28 at 1-2. You have the Raiders at 27. Hey, Raider, I'm from the Bay, so I know the Raider fans are not agreeing with this. They're pissed, But hey, 1-2, you're ranked 27th in league. Then my Vikings, 0-3. They're 0-3 and they're ranked higher than teams that have a win, So they're 0-3. They're at 26. Arizona 1-2 at 25. The New York Jets at 24. New York Giants at 23. The Rams are 22. The Patriots, which is kind of, the Patriots at 21. That's kind of crazy. I mean, they deserve to be there, but just to think that the Patriots are down there. The Colts are 20. This one kind of surprised me. They're ranked 20th and they're 2-1, but they're still ranked 20th. And then you have Jacksonville's 19. They're 1-2. Cincinnati 18, 1-2. I think Cincinnati should be higher than Colts. Yeah, for sure. Washington 2-1. They're 17. Atlanta is 16. New Orleans 15. Kind of right where we think they should be. Just kind of like middle of the pack. The Chargers at 1-2, bro, are ranked 14th in the league at 1-2. That just, you mentioned it in this earlier, that they could easily be 3-0. And I think they see that, the people who do these rankings see how good the Chargers really are and can be. Buccaneers are 13 at 2-1. You have the Packers at 2-2 now. When this came out, this was before the Thursday night game. Mm-hmm. So they're 12, 2-2. The Steelers 2-1 at 11. The top 10 are this: Cincinnati I'm sorry, Seattle at 10, Cleveland at 9, Detroit Lions are at 8. They may have bumped up a little bit. I don't know, since they just got their decisive win on Thursday night, last night. Baltimore at 7, Dallas at 6. Dallas is down to 6. Wait a minute, where'd they say? Here comes the number 1 ranked team in the world. That's okay. Anyway, I don't go there again. Dallas at 6.
Don't get me fired up, man.
The Bills are coming in at number 5. The Chiefs are at number 4. The Eagles at number 3. The Dolphins at number 2. And your San Francisco 49ers are ranked number 1, the number 1 power ranked team in the NFL. I think those rankings are really good. I think they're done, from my perspective, very fairly. You had some teams with less wins ranked higher than some teams with wins, and vice versa. So, yeah, I have no problem with the top 5 for sure. Miami's got to be up there with the Niners. I still think if the Niners and the Dolphins play, the Niners are going to win that game. I think the only real battles here would be between Kansas City, Philly, and San Francisco. Those 3 teams playing each other. Anyone can win on any day. Hopefully you got something good out of it. Thanks for listening. I'm Lonnie. He's Jake. We'll catch you on the next one.